The college baseball experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with the new Pick 8. Sign up with promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the College Baseball Experience. What's going on? My name is Noah Bieniek, aka 77, and we're back here for Super Regionals Day 1, Friday. We've got 4 games to go over. It's actually going to be a really, really quick show because we don't have any bullpen usage to go over the first couple of games of the week. And there's been 3 to 4 days rest off for most of these teams here. As we actually even 5 days rest for some of them that ended on Sunday. So we've got 4 games to run over. We don't have to spend too much time on it. If you want more in-depth previews on each series and not just the game, check out the previous episode where I preview each super regional and give out my favorite bet as a future. So whether it be over under 2.5 games for each series, the winner of each series, or if I copped out and I just said, hey, I like this play in this game or something of that matter. Before we jump into today's episode, though, I want to promote the Hockey Gambling Podcast from Sports Gambling Podcast Network because they are running a Stanley Cup contest with $100 cash and $100 gift card prize. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Stanley Cup to enter. All right, let's jump into game 1 here. As we have Yukon, who is just getting screwed over with the time, the schedule here. They've played the last game on Monday. Game started at 8 or 9 p.m. On Monday night, Eastern time, that being. And now they play Friday at noon. So they traveled back to Stores on Tuesday. On Wednesday, they hosted recruits, and they traveled out to Tallahassee on Thursday. That coming from Shotgun Spratling of D1 Baseball. So they've had a very, very busy week, kind of hectic week, to say the less. So I really don't know, about UConn coming into this game just before we even talk about the pitching. Now let's talk about who probably starts this game. We have 2 two teams that didn't announce pitchers for this Friday game. It's the only game for Friday that we don't have confirmed starting pitchers. So that's a little bummer, but I think both teams will probably keep the same rotation that they had for regionals last week. That's just my hunch. I don't know if Florida State goes with Jamie Arnold as he threw last Saturday and didn't throw on Friday. So, and even UConn, Stephen Quigley has been one of their best arms. He threw on Saturday, also relieved on Monday. So I wouldn't count on seeing Quigley here in this game. I think it's going to be Ian Cook, junior right-hander. He's 5-1 on the year, 4.25 ERA, 85 strikeouts, 25 walks, and 65.2 innings. He has a 260 SIERA. However, in his last 5 starts, it's a 2.90 ERA. However, a 7.12 ERA on the road. So he's in really good form. But the home mound for him is a little bit more comfortable than the road. But he didn't look bad against Duke last week. For Florida State, I think it's going to be Carson Dorsey. I don't think they're going to go with Jamie Arnold just because they know they can start him on Saturday and he'll be fine. You'll get 2 games in at least this weekend. They don't feel pressure to move Jamie Arnold back up into the Friday role. And Carson Dorsey looked great last Friday against Stetson. He really limited the damage. They had like 10 hits on him, but he only gave up 2 runs. He went 8.2 innings. He's a junior left-hander who's 6-4 on the year, 4.92 ERA, 75 strikeouts, 35 walks in 64 innings this season. He has a 3.55 SIERA, which is a run and a half lower than his actual ERA. So that means he's getting bad luck on batted balls in play. Basically, is what that means is he should be outperforming what the ERA says. And furthermore on that, he has a 2.27 ERA at home. So he really has gotten bombed when he hits the road, but he's been elite at home. I feel pretty good about Florida State winning this first game because Florida State's lineup rakes against right-handed pitching. On the year, it's a 960 team OPS, but against right-handed pitching, it's 983. Against lefties, it's 922. Ian Cook, a right-handed pitcher. I think the Noles are in for a great game if this is the way the pitching matchup's going to go. The bullpen, it favors UConn slightly with a 5.03 weekend bullpen ERA compared to Florida State's 5.43. But again, UConn was in that game against Oklahoma on Monday. So, short turnaround for some of the guys, especially if Quigley goes, but I doubt it. So yeah, I like Florida State here quite a bit. 125 WRST plus compared to UConn's 101. The only hesitation I have is that we don't have confirmed pitchers, but this is one of the games that I feel better about putting into like a parlay for tomorrow's action. Before we move on, Underdog Fantasy wants to announce that their pick 8 is live for NBA Finals. You can create entries up to 8 picks on Underdog, and they will automatically double flex the entries. So you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry. I'm pulling it up right now because I'm going to double check and see if there's any any college baseball player projections out there currently. Because with more picks to make and extra ways to win, the excitement is even higher. The best part is you can win up to 325x your original amount. You can now use specials and boosts on all flexed entries. And don't miss your chance to try out this new feature before it's gone. So sign up today with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $250. And we have college baseball on Underdog Fantasy now. So for what it's worth, there are quite a few options. Wow. That's solid. Okay. So for what it's worth, it's not legal for me in Michigan, but I can view the board, and the board looks wonderful. They've got all 4 games, and they currently have slated Ian Cook, Carson Dorsey to throw in this game. I'm going to have an Underdog Fantasy video tomorrow. That is awesome. So follow me on Twitter at NoahB77_ for a Underdog Fantasy entry on college baseball to play. So underdogfantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. Go check out that slate because it is loaded. I'm going to have some fun looking into it so I can make a video for tomorrow's action. We'll see how sharp our friends over at Underdog are this season. That's great. That is awesome. Okay, we're back here on the college baseball experience. And if you skip through the ads, I highly recommend you go check out Underdog Fantasy because college baseball player projections are now up. That is awesome. So all 4 games for Friday's Super Regionals, we have some player projections that we can go choose higher or lower on. Awesome. Game 2, this is what I would recommend going over to Underdog Fantasy and look at this game because looking at this game, I don't know if I can find a side on it. Actually, for what it's worth, UConn, Florida State, I would feel good about a Florida State run line. So run line total, hunches, I would take Florida State -1.5 at whatever that would come out. That would probably be a comfortable pick for me. And I would go under just because Cook could go okay. Dorsey's going to pitch pretty well, I think. It's all going to depend on how many runs Florida State puts up. and that's why I feel pretty good about -1.5. Josh D. Penn says Dorsey's going to go 7+ again tomorrow. I hope so, dude. That would be great. Hasty says he sees -2.5 for Florida State. What book? Comment that below so I can pull it up. Because shout out to whatever book has the run lines and totals out right now. I might have to pull it up for the show. Because currently I'm just surfing DraftKings. They've always been first for everything. Every single week. Oh, he says DK. Wait, hold on. I got to refresh my page. Boom. Oh, there we go. No, Hasty, I got it in front of me now. Wow. All I needed to do was hit refresh. I'm a dumbass. All right. So it's 2.5 for Florida State. I would still probably say I lay the 2.5 with Florida State, and under 11.5 would be my pick there for the picks page. And I will fill those in on the picks page soon after. By the way, apologize. I apologize for the error of the picks page on Monday. I don't know what was going on, but it was not loading the games, Monday's games. So, yeah, I don't know what was up with that, but hopefully that error gets fixed. Next game on our slate here is Evansville, Tennessee. The Volunteers are -720. Evansville's +450. The total's set at 13.5. Tennessee -4.5 is -135. Evansville +4.5 +105. So, I mean, 13.5 seems a little high, but I don't know how many runs the bullpen of Evansville is going to give up. I talked about that on the Super Regional Futures show. The bullpen of Evansville seems like a giant wild card. The Purple Aces could be leading with Deverman or why am I blanking? Schultz on the mound in games 1 or game 2, but that bullpen is pretty rough with a 6.21 bullpen ERA, and a lot of the guys that they use, their 4 most used arms out of the bullpen, all stamped with ERAs above 6.10. So that's rough for sure. Because Evansville, they have a really good number 1 in freshman Kenton Deverman. He's a lefty, 3-1 on the year, 3.81 ERA, 81 strikeouts, 20 walks, and 106.1 innings with a 3.83 Sierra. And he's going to go up against the Tennessee duo / opener / long appearance guy in Stamos, the opener, and then AJ Causey. Stamos is 3-0, 3.60 ERA, high slot lefty. And then after he comes out, after like one time through the batting order, you get AJ Causey, who's a low slot right-hander with crazy movement. And I don't know what's going on, but my flashlight is like right into my eye and I can't fix that. So I'm just going to turn it off. So Causey on the year, 12-3, 3.98 ERA, 109 strikeouts, 17 walks, and 81.1 innings. It's dominant. Shout out to you, Evansville. You got this far, but that combination between arm angles and stuff is just unbelievable from Tennessee. And then once you get through those two, if you get through those two, that's actually success. But the bullpen, 3.36 weekend bullpen ERA. And then Tennessee's offense is one of the best in the country. 134 WRC plus, 1021 team OPS. Yeah, I like Tennessee to win this game. 4.5 is a bit steep. It all depends on kind of how well Deverman throws here. And he's been in really good form, pitched well in the jungle, or at Clark LeClaire Stadium with the jungle. And that's a rowdy environment. So like, it's definitely still a step up to go to Lindsey Nelson Stadium. But I mean, if he pitches well against East Carolina in Greenville, he should do well in Knoxville. So let's take the +4.5 with Evansville. And I'll go with the under 13.5. We'll just say that Deverman keeps this one close. Again, I don't feel great about it because of that bullpen. But if Deverman goes deep into the game like you did against East Carolina, that could be a difference maker. And if he gets pulled, it's probably because he did get touched up a little bit. So chat's rolling along here. I appreciate everybody jumping in. Josh D. Penn says it's going to be mid-90s. The ball's going to fly out of Dick Hauser Stadium. Yeah, right at noon during the day, too. Hasty says kids got to go to distance for Evansville here. We'll move on to the night slate. 6 p.m. East starts in Chapel Hill for the Super Regional here at Boshamer Stadium. North Carolina minus 270, West Virginia plus 200. We do have pitchers for this game. Derek Clark is getting the ball for the Mountaineers. He came out of relief on Sunday night for West Virginia after throwing a complete game on Friday night. And the Sunday night game was more of just a bullpen day. I guess you can chalk that up for Clark. The senior lefty for West Virginia is 8-1 with a 2.82 ERA, 83 strikeouts, 20 walks in 89.1 innings. He has a 3.27 Sierra on the road, 3.74 ERA, which is about a run worse. And in his last 4 starts is a 4.03 ERA, which is about 2 runs worse than how he's been going. I want to double check that too, because that could be an error on my part. He has, so in his last 4 starts, he's given up 0 runs in 7 innings, 2 runs in 8 innings, 1 run in 9, and then 0 in 2 outs. So he's given up 3 runs in 24 innings. That is an error. It's a 1.113 ERA in his last 4 appearances. I knew that was off. So he's been really dominant in his last 4 appearances. The bullpen, though, is a little bit of a question mark. 5.68 bullpen ERA for West Virginia. Whereas North Carolina's, it really isn't too much of an issue, and we just saw it play out against LSU in 2 games over the weekend. Technically 3 games over the weekend. It really lived up to the standard it's created for itself this season with a 4.50 ERA for the Tar Heels there. Their starting pitcher here, they're going with Shea Sprague. He's a junior lefty who's 3-1 with a 3.76 ERA, 58 strikeouts, 16 walks, and 69.1 innings, 3.70 Sierra, and he's got a 2.72 ERA at home. So he's a full run better at home. The thing here is when you look into the splits for both teams, actually, North Carolina crushes left-handed pitching, Derek Clark being a lefty. They have a 1039 OPS against southpaws. Against right-handed pitching, it's only 948, which 948 is still really, really good, but they have just destroyed left-handed pitching so far this season. For West Virginia, against left-handed pitching in their own right, Sprague being a lefty too, they have an 806 OPS compared to an 883 against right-handed. So they're slightly better against right-handed pitching. It's not drastic, but it is something of note in this handicap. I like North Carolina here. I actually, in the pre-Super Regional Futures episode, it's one of my favorites. I think North Carolina wins this series in 2. I just think it's a tough matchup for both Clark and Switalski, both of them left-handed starting pitchers for West Virginia, going up against a loaded North Carolina lineup. And you look at North Carolina, they're battle-tested after that weekend against LSU, playing 3 games against the Tigers, whereas West Virginia came out of the Tucson Regional after playing the 4-seed Grand Canyon twice and the 2-seed Dallas Baptist on Friday with their ace on the mound. So I like North Carolina here. That's probably a parlay piece for me. I like them minus 2.5 and under 11.5 for the game here. The final game, before we get to the final game, let me tell you about Rhythm. I apologize. It's a short show, but I have to make a little bit of money doing the show. If you're betting on NBA player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning their algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs to help you feel even more confident in your picks, which you can make wherever you normally place your bets or DFS picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data without you needing to endlessly scroll a sports book. Rhythm also allows you to create your own NBA models custom, so you can get AI-backed moneyline spread and total picks for every single game. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. We're also brought to you by Naira. Bet the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga with Naira Bets. Join now to claim your $25 free bet and $200 deposit bonus just in time for the Belmont Stakes at nairabets.com/SGPN25. Need an extra boost? Bet the Penn Mile with a bonus. Earn $10 win or lose when you bet at least $100 on Penn National on Friday. Visit nyrabets.com to opt in. That's not all. You can get $10 win or lose when you opt in and bet at least $100 on Monmouth Park on Saturday. On Sunday, it's your big chance to win at Monmouth Park, as you can grab a share of the $2,500 prize when you hit the last two trifectas. Just opt in at nyrabets.com and get ready to cash in on the excitement. The winning streak continues. Score another $20, win or lose, when you bet at least $100 on Asanobia Downs on Monday. I continue to screw that up, but I'm not a diehard horse racing guy. I apologize. And remember to get your $25 free bet and $200 deposit bonus for the Belmont Stakes. Go to nyrabets.com/SGPN25. YouTube chat again is rolling. We've got 146 in here across a bunch of different platforms. Over 30 of you tuned in on YouTube at 12:20 a.m. Eastern. Good. Ryan Hasty says, good old Morgantown WV. Cameron Carter, I think West Virginia gets game 1, but loses series. I'm an LSU fan, so I studied UNC pretty well. They're good, but can be beat. I'm hoping for it. Like I said in the Futures episode, Moneyline Mac here with us in the college basketball experience. He's a West Virginia guy. I'm pulling for the Mountaineers to send out Randy Mazey in Omaha. I just logically can't pick it. Cameron Carter says, but at the same time, if West Virginia gets game 1, the pressure mounts on North Carolina. They could break. Avetta says, already locked those previous bets in. Crutch, if West Virginia is going to get 1, it'll be tomorrow. And if not, I like UNC by an indeterminable line. And Ryan Hasty says, UNC minus 2.5 is plus 105. Okay. We've got one final game to talk about here on today's slate. It is Kansas State and Virginia. This is probably the game that I feel the best about. Confirmed pitchers in this one as well. 2 lefties as well. Kansas State going with Owen Barema, the grad left-hander who's 6-3, 5.07 ERA, 105 strikeouts, 45 walks, and 92.1 innings, 358 Sierra. He's got a 681 ERA on the road. It's almost a full 2 runs worse on the road than he is on the season. And for Virginia, they're going with Evan Blanco, the sophomore lefty, who's 7-3, 357 ERA, 86 strikeouts, 24 walks, and 85.2 innings, 340 Sierra, and at home, 281 home ERA, a 109 ERA in his last 4 starts. This kid has been Virginia's ace for the entire season. He's been dominant recently in his last 4 starts, 109 ERA. And Kansas State, 633 OPS against left-handed pitching. This one's going to be my favorite pick of the day. I like Virginia run line, minus 3.5 I'm seeing right now. It's actually gone up a little bit. I think it was minus 300 when I gave it out on the radio show about an hour and a half ago. So yeah, Virginia minus 3.5. I feel really good about it. Virginia minus 330. Honestly, I don't know if I love minus 3.5. I'd rather just parlay the minus 330. And I'll also take the under 13.5, I think. So that's 4 unders. I don't know if I love that, but yeah, I think that's the way I'm going to go. Just because Virginia was still in a low-scoring battle against Penn last Friday. And even as good as their offense can be, they still should be, uh, average. The Kansas State having a full bullpen to work with and Tyson Neighbors on full rest should be interesting when they decide to deploy him in this game. So that's why the over to me seems a little sketch. But I definitely love Virginia to win this game. The 3.5 gets a little sketch as well. But I like, so for tomorrow, the play that I'm going to roll out is the North Carolina Virginia moneyline parlay. It's the nightcap, the 2 nightcap games. North Carolina's minus 270, Virginia's minus 330. That parlay comes out to minus 128. That's going to be what I rock for Friday's slate, guys. Unfortunately, just all 4 games are just massive favorites. So if you're looking for more action, I highly recommend you tuning into the Super Regionals preview, where I'm giving out best bets and angles for each series. And there's some futures in there that I really liked that I gave out. So yeah, I like North Carolina minus 270 parlayed with Virginia minus 330 here on Friday. Those are my 2 favorite picks. If you don't feel great about North Carolina, and if Jamie Arnold goes for Florida State on Friday, that Florida State would be a great substitution for North Carolina. Florida State is minus 135 with Virginia parlayed there. Either or. I honestly, if you want to play both of them, go ahead. If you want to play all 4 favorites, just go with the ultimate juice bag parlay. It's plus 171. I think all 4 of them, I pick all 4 of them to come through. So yeah, that would be the way I go for most of these. I lean under for a lot of these, just because you get fresh bullpens, aces on the mound. It just only makes sense, right? So what could possibly fuck that up? Yeah. The show here has come to an end with the only 4 game slate. As we move along throughout this weekend, I'll have bullpen usage updates where I handicap in, some of the pitchers that they've used out of the pen, some of them that they haven't. That really comes in handy in these short slates, where it's easier to, kind of track. Checking in on the YouTube chat before we get out of here. Nathaniel Bow says West Virginia minus 1.5. Hasty says Virginia minus 3.5 is even money in my book. Yeah, it's minus 110 here, but either or. I think that's probably a look in this game. Crutch says everyone loves UConn for their basketball achievements. Evansville is America's team. West Virginia country roads take me home. Who's the dog no one looks at? K-State. Give me the Cats outright in Charlottesville. Hey, you said country roads. You could have said Randy Mazey. That's just the drop that everybody's been using for West Virginia this week. I've been listening to a lot of content myself. Ryan Hasty says Tang Gang. Hasty also says Tennessee moneyline makes it plus money. 4 moneyline favorite parlay. LOL, what could go wrong? Speedy Gonzalez says moneyline parlay. What can go wrong? Let's fucking go. And Iveta says I threw Texas A&M into that parlay too. Yeah, that's probably a good look too. And she also says, y'all don't forget to take Georgia. Yeah, I do really like Georgia this week. Hopefully they come through. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's show. We kept it under a half hour with only the 4 games. And I was happy that run lines and totals came out as we were live. So I really do appreciate the chat helping me out for that too. But yeah, you guys make sure to jump in here tomorrow night around midnight, whenever this Kansas State Virginia game goes final. The game starts at 7 p.m. So I would say 11, I start kind of handicapping some of the box scores after all these games take place. And I'll be ready to go around 12:30 for all 8 games tomorrow. So given if there's betting odds, hopefully betting odds are out prior to like 3 a.m. because I've had that happen to me before too. Hasty says, Ivetta playing the whole board, big brain move. Transio says, good show, let's get him. Ivetta, hopefully it stays pretty chalk. Hasty says, Georgia, let's freaking go. Ivetta, thanks, Noah. I appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for joining in. We had over 160 of you guys tune in across all platforms. You've been experiencing the better side of college baseball. Adios, amigos.